When I was younger, I went to libraries only to play the games because I had the computers on the games, right? And I really appreciated that space because that space was a safe space for me. I didn't read too much because I didn't know how to read too much growing up, and I was that helped me feel insecure. And in that insecurity, I kind of started pushing, I'll read a book. Now I ain't reading no book because I didn't want anybody to know how stupid I was, or that's how I felt.
So for the library has always been there since I was young. I remember when I was a kid in elementary school, having to do some homework, and one of my teachers said that, well, you know what, you can always go to the library to find some of the materials. But at that time, I was kind of nervous, of course. But then afterwards, me and some friends from the neighborhood, we started just going to the library and got a library card. And I remember getting my first library card. I think I was like, I want to say I was in the third grade, third grade. And one of the first books that I had checked out was a short story. It was kind of like a scary story, similar to Goosebumps. But anyway, so I remember, that was like my first book that I had checked out. And what's interesting is that it's been years, how something like that still stick to you. and of course, with that book, our teacher asked us to come back and share with us, kind of like a show and tell thing, and I shared with him what I had checked out and what I had read. And yeah, that was my first experience.
Once I got to prison, I pushed myself to do better. Even though I was still in a gang lifestyle, I did go to the library to study law books. I found a passion for law. And once I started reading the law books, I wanted to stay in the library more and more. Every prison I went to, I knew how to navigate the law library. It was library in and of itself. I never read too many regular books, but I was always checking out law books. Anything dealing with law, I'm checking out and I'm reading. I found that to be very helpful for me. Since I've got out, I have not been to a library because I didn't know the stigma around formerly incarcerated people coming to the library, if I would be judged.
Yes, so I've been to the library pretty often, because the library itself has a lot of great resources, right? Especially myself being somebody that is formerly incarcerated and going back to school, because right now I'm currently at UC Berkeley, and a lot of the materials that they ask us, for our homework requires research, right? And of course, nowadays they have, Google Scholar and UC Berkeley Library. But in that case, sometimes you can't find books on there, like you can at the local library. So yeah, I use the library often, and definitely it has been a great resource for me, especially in my study. Yes, I do have a library card. I have two library cards actually. I have one is for San Francisco and one here in Oakland. And just recently I also checked out a park pass from the library because it's a new program that has been, a pilot program that has been instituted here in Alameda County. And I think that's really great, because I love to go outdoors and learning about that, that you can just go to the library and check it out without having to go to the park and pay for the pass, which is would be great as well. But just a library, just knowing that the library offer that is really great and accessible.
So this is the first time you've been into a library?
Yes, and I walk by here every day.
When I was incarcerated, right, the law library and the regular library, they're together, and a lot of the prisoners, they would spend time in there, especially like, you know, working on their legal case. And some would use the library for studying, or maybe just to socialize, you know, and just to get out the yard. And that's what I did when I was incarcerated. I used the library for my legal work, and also to get some resources to prepare me for the parole board. And, you know, having that in mind, when I came home, parole home, and I know that, you know, I need a place to get some resources, and I know that the local library, you know, have those resources. So when I first came home, that was like one of the first places that I went to, is the library, you know, to get a library card. And I'm glad that I did, you know, because the library itself has a lot of, you know, the resources that I need, especially for reentry. Yeah, so how I learned about, you know, the library have those resources through, you know, reentry program when I was incarcerated. They have, you know, these reentry programs that'll help you develop, you know, your goals and your plan, and you know, what to do when you get out, when you come home. You know, what are some of the steps that you need, and where are some of the places that you can go to access, you know, these resources for yourself. And on the list, it happened to be the library.
Growing up, I just didn't, I guess it goes back to hearing all these thoughts about what the library is, which is a good place, but other people pollute it. And it's a learned behavior to where it's like, I want to stay away from there, ain't nothing good for me in there. So it's sad that I haven't come around to open my mind and say, let's walk in and figure out for myself. So that's something I need to do, not only as a formerly incarcerated person, but as an individual.
Yeah, so it's something about the library that it feels like a monastery. You know, it's really quiet, and yeah, it's really quiet, and also it's a place where I can actually, you know, feel relaxed and focused. And of course, myself, I love being around books, right? And what's interesting is that sometime when I'm stressed, I'll just go to like a bookstore. So there's this one place in Berkeley, I think it's called Discount Price or Discount Book. Yeah, I go there often, and sometimes I go to Barnes & Noble, and even at Target, right? I'll go to you know, the book section. And yeah, it's something about, you know, just being around, you know, like books, and just being in the library setting.
But then when I was in my childhood, I felt comfortable. I felt safe.
I think based on my experience, it does, but at times, you know, it can also feel kind of awkward in the sense where, you know, sometimes that in my mind I'm thinking to myself that, wow, I'm formerly incarcerated, and I'm talking to myself that, you know, is people here know that I'm formerly incarcerated, or are they, you know, staring at me, or are they, you know, just judging me or something? And all of that could probably be on my mind. But I feel like for the most part, the library does, in a sense, feel, you know, welcoming for me. But at the same time, you know, I think that it might not be like that for all, you know, formerly incarcerated.
What I would like is for the incarcerated community to be accepted in this library, in any library that they go to, because, and to be looked at as human beings, not in my own mind like I'm dressed in blue, because I don't know if that goes on for other people. I can't speak for them. I know just what goes on for me. So for me, I would like it to have resources as far as reentry homes, resources as far as rent support, resources as far as getting a job, because it's not easy for guys coming out of prison to ask for help. And one thing, living in the Bay Area especially, rent is high, and we cannot afford to live out here working Got guys working 4 or 5 jobs in order just to get a $2,300 apartment, because for one, we come out of here with no credit. We come out of prison with no credit. We don't know how to build our credit if we don't have the right support team. So that's something that should be in the library. How do people coming home from prison build their credit? How do we open the door to networking and getting to know people, you know, that's willing to help us from a genuine place, not just from a place, hey, I helped him, you know, because not everything deserves, hey, I helped that person. You don't have to speak it in order to know you helped somebody. I think one thing should be in here is a community support group to where guys can come to. One thing that's comfortable for me that I found out is a circle. One thing that was big in prison is circles. That's a safe place. Even though the library is safe, hey, we're having a men's circle or a connected circle of men and women and supporters, that where you can go and sit there for an hour or two, talk about what you're going through, and guess what? You don't have to go nowhere to find the support because it's right there. I think that would be huge for libraries moving forward.
I think that there's some you know, books and material that speaks about incarceration and so forth, but I definitely you know, also know that there's a program here in the library that'll run, but I don't really hear much about this program that's pertaining to support formerly incarcerated. And I think that if there is, you know, a program, or if there's not a program, you know, if they do have a program like that, I think that it would be like really beneficial for, you know, folks that are on parole or formerly incarcerated, you know.
One thing a lot of guys come out from prison, including myself, is I want to learn how to start a business. So, business for dummy books, right? They're the best thing in the world. I haven't picked one up yet because I'm everywhere in my mind, but that is a goal. I think the library should be open door in a way of coming here and, okay, reentry support is cool, but just say, hey, where can I find some mental health somewhere in here, right? That'll be cool because a lot of people in prison, mental health is stigmatized. So coming out here, it's hard to get the right mental health if you're on Medi-Cal. Especially and you're on parole, you get the mental health that kind of looks down on you. You don't get to where, hey, I'm finna go to the library and see mental health, huh? They got that there? That would be awesome. Not just for us, but think about the little Black and Latino kids that normalizes violence, but that's violence as a safe place. You know, what if they can come in here and say, I want to talk to somebody about what I'm going through? That'd be their safe place to let everything out that they go in. That would help them heal their trauma and start working on it, and then go out and not commit crime.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the programs that can be established to help formerly incarcerated here in the library would be, you know, like resource, especially to help them with the reentry. You know, because oftentimes when people come home, you know, they need to know where to go for housing, right? Oftentimes housing is always like the big issue. Jobs, and also, you know, like relationship building skills and different type of skill, you know, to let them know that there's a community and support. And I feel like if those type of programs that have been established, you know, here in the library, or, you know, the library would provide some type of, you know, information resources around that, I think that'll be great, you know. Or even have formerly incarcerated people as a staff member working. Yeah, definitely. I think that if the library, you know, collaborate with community-based organizations that, you know, support formerly incarcerated people, I think that that'll be like, you know, something that's really great, and especially. Especially holding meetings or maybe events and stuff, I think that location and spaces, you know, is always the place where organization look for. And I think that if the library open up spaces like that in collaboration, I think that'll be great as well. Yeah, I definitely think having some type of program here to help formerly incarcerated people would be great, and at the same time for the youth, because a lot of youth come here to the library to access various books and resources, or just to come socialize with friends. And I think that making this place accessible for welcoming for formerly incarcerated and also for the youth, I think that'll be great. Yeah, because we often talk about disrupting the school to prison pipeline. I think that the library itself can play a key role in that.
Word of mouth. The incarcerated community is huge, and we can now vote, so that's powerful, right? And I think just going out in the communities, I have never seen a librarian in the community to where they're not, hey, have you heard about this library? These are the programs we have in the library. Knocking on doors like politicians do. Yes, that's a lot of work. But to have people come into the library is going to take a lot of work. And I think to have the library community out there in the communities holding, hey, we're holding this function at the library. Can you guys want to check it out? Put flyers out there so people can come and see what the library is about. And I think that's powerful. Hey, we having a speaking thing at the library. We have these formerly incarcerated people speaking. Oh, I'm definitely going to come because I want to hear what their struggles are and what they're going through. So I think that's powerful for the library community itself to be out there in the community.
I think that a lot of formerly incarcerated people probably are not aware about programs that's available here in the library, unless it's from a word of mouth, or unless we are able to get it out there. For myself, the only reason why I was able to learn about it is because it was part of my parole packet or reentry packet that I had put together, and I had went out and check out the local library.
So that was part of the packet that you chose to put inside of that. That wasn't a part that they put in ahead of time for all candidates.
Yeah. So with the parole packet, I think that for the parole packet, each packet is unique because it's tailored towards the individual needs, and I think that the library, I think it's also a place where it should be incorporated in a person's parole packet, and that people should know about.
Can you tell us a bit about what life was like for you upon release and the needs that you had?
So when I came home, I had a list of things that my essential needs, which was housing, job, income, food, clothing. Then afterwards, reconnect with my family and having that support system, which are community members, and most of the community members itself that I got the support are from formerly incarcerated people that have been home and had also navigated the reentry process that helped me, and also the relationship that I had built along the way, when I was incarcerated, like volunteers from the streets, when I was incarcerated, how when I came home, yeah, they were there to support me. Yeah, so my recommendation for the library itself is to be more accessible to formerly incarcerated people, and also at the same time to really get the word out there that there are some resources, there are some of these programs, and I think that regarding programs, it is something that can be collaborated with formerly incarcerated people, and especially to to use the space and to come up with some ideas, that hey, we can figure something out to help, use the space to support people that are formerly incarcerated, or to, come up with some ideas to make books or any type of material accessible to, people that are formerly incarcerated, or people that are, incarcerated, because there was this one campaign that was run, I think back in the early 2010, I want to say, or maybe earlier than that. It was called Books, Not Bars. So that's we can also think about something like that to model some type of program like that. Yeah, and also for prisons and facilities, they desperately need books, and I think that having some type of donation programs, that can, send books inside of prison, I think that'll be great as well, or send books to, folks that are incarcerated, or some type of material or resources from the library. I think that'll be great.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we end our conversation?
Let me see here. Yes, I just want to say, I'm grateful to have this opportunity to share my experience of, accessing what the library has to offer, and especially people don't really know much about a lot of the resources that they have to offer. I think that by me, sharing about this and also providing some ideas and suggestions, I think that it's a start, and I think that with what we have thought about as far as making library accessible to formerly incarcerated people, I think that's a start.